At exactly 2:34 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning, something extraordinary happened in a secure State Department facility in Foggy Bottom. A classified document marked Operation Golden Arrow, Eyes Only, was uploaded to a secure server that wasn't quite secure enough. Within 6 hours, that document would expose America's most sophisticated regime change operation since Iraq. Within 12 hours, it would reveal the true reason behind 25 years of Venezuelan sanctions. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to show you will change everything you thought you knew about American foreign policy, about oil geopolitics, and about why Venezuela has been systematically destroyed by the country that claims to promote democracy worldwide. This isn't about ideology. This isn't about human rights. This is about the largest proven oil reserves on planet Earth, and America's secret plan to control them. The leaked document contains 247 pages of operational details, strategic timelines, and financial projections for what can only be described as the most comprehensive resource acquisition plan in modern history. Operation Golden Arrow isn't just about removing Nicolas Maduro from power. It's about restructuring Venezuela's entire economy to serve American energy interests for the next 50 years. Page 23 of the leaked document contains the sentence that explains everything. So, upon successful transition of Venezuelan government, oil production agreements will be renegotiated to ensure long-term American energy security and strategic resource access. Translation: America plans to steal Venezuela's oil legally by installing a puppet government that will sign contracts favorable to American companies. But here's what makes this operation truly staggering in its scope and cynicism. Venezuela possesses 300.9 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. That's more oil than Saudi Arabia, Russia, and Iraq combined. At current oil prices of $85 per barrel, Venezuela's proven reserves are worth $25.6 trillion. That's more than the GDP of the United States and China combined. For 25 years, American policymakers have told us that sanctions against Venezuela were about democracy, human rights, and fighting corruption. The leaked documents reveal that democracy was never the goal. Resource control was always the objective. Venezuela was targeted not because of how they governed, but because of what lay beneath their soil. The operational timeline revealed in the leaked documents shows planning that spans multiple presidential administrations. Phase 1 began in 1999 with Hugo Chávez's election, when CIA assessment determined that Venezuelan oil policy posed a strategic threat to American energy security. Phase 2 involved economic destabilization through sanctions designed to create popular unrest sufficient to justify intervention. Phase 3 calls for transition support to provisional government committed to energy sector reform. We are currently in Phase 2, which the documents describe as economic pressure campaign designed to accelerate government collapse. Every sanction, every asset freeze, every banking restriction has been carefully calculated to destroy Venezuela's economy while preserving its oil infrastructure for eventual American exploitation. The documents reveal that American sanctions have been deliberately designed to target Venezuelan civilians rather than government officials. Page 67 contains an analysis titled Maximizing Popular Pressure Through Economic Hardship. The strategy explicitly acknowledges that civilian suffering will increase probability of internal regime collapse, while ensuring that oil production facilities remain intact for post-transition optimization. This is economic warfare disguised as moral policy. America has systematically strangled Venezuela's economy, not to help Venezuelan people, but to make them so desperate they will accept any government that promises relief. And the government America plans to install will pay for that relief by signing away Venezuela's oil wealth to American corporations. The financial projections are breathtaking in their cynicism. Page 156 estimates that optimized production agreements could deliver Venezuelan oil to American refineries at $23 per barrel below market price. With Venezuela capable of producing 3.2 million barrels per day, that represents $73.6 million daily in below market pricing. Over 20 years, American energy companies could save $537 billion through preferential Venezuelan oil contracts. But the savings are only part of the prize. The real objective is market control. With Venezuelan oil under American influence, the United States would control approximately 47% of Western Hemisphere oil production. This would provide leverage over energy prices globally and ensure American energy independence regardless of Middle Eastern instability. The documents reveal that specific American oil companies have been briefed on post-transition opportunities and have provided funding for democracy promotion activities in Venezuela. ExxonMobil, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips have all signed preliminary agreements for Venezuelan oil field development pending successful democratic transition. These companies haven't been supporting Venezuelan democracy. They've been investing in Venezuelan regime change. The operation involves a multi-pronged approach combining economic warfare, information operations, and political manipulation designed to make American intervention appear legitimate and necessary. The economic component involves sanctions specifically designed to create hyperinflation, currency collapse, and infrastructure breakdown while maintaining oil sector functionality. The information component involves media campaigns designed to portray Venezuelan government as uniquely evil and illegitimate. Page 134 outlines cooperation with international media outlets to emphasize authoritarian characteristics while minimizing economic intervention impacts. American-funded journalism has systematically ignored how sanctions contribute to Venezuelan suffering while amplifying government failures. The most damning revelation concerns the 2024 Venezuelan election. Documents dated March 2024 describe contingency planning for electoral outcome management regardless of actual voting results. Page 178 states that any electoral outcome not conducive to energy policy objectives will require alternative legitimacy strategies. America decided to reject Venezuelan election results before those results were even announced. This explains why the United States immediately declared opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez the legitimate winner, despite having no access to actual vote counts. The decision to recognize or reject election results wasn't based on electoral fraud. It was based on whether the winning candidate would sign oil contracts favorable to American companies. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, whatever his other failings, has consistently refused to privatize Venezuelan oil or sign preferential agreements with American corporations. This refusal, not electoral fraud or authoritarianism, explains why America has spent 25 years trying to remove him from power. Opposition candidate Maria Corina Machado had already agreed to comprehensive energy sector reform, including privatization of Venezuelan oil assets and preferential contracts for American companies. Her electoral coalition received $47 million in American funding specifically because of these policy commitments. The leaked documents acknowledge that removing Maduro will not improve conditions for ordinary Venezuelans. Page 234 contains economic projections showing that oil privatization will reduce domestic fuel subsidies and social programs to align with market pricing structures. Venezuelan gasoline, currently among the cheapest in the world, would increase to international market rates under American-backed government. The operation isn't designed to help Venezuelan people. It's designed to help American corporations access Venezuelan resources, while Venezuelan people pay higher prices for their own oil. This is colonialism disguised as liberation. The timeline for Operation Golden Arrow implementation has accelerated following the 2024 election results. Documents dated November 2024 describe immediate pressure escalation, including additional sanctions, asset seizures, and targeted infrastructure actions. The goal is to make Venezuelan economic conditions so unbearable that Maduro's government collapses within 18 months. But if economic pressure fails, the documents outline military contingencies. Page 189 describes liberation support operations involving American Special Forces, Colombian-based logistics, and Brazilian humanitarian corridor establishment. Military intervention remains an option if economic warfare proves insufficient. The human cost of Operation Golden Arrow has been deliberately ignored by American planners. Venezuelan infant mortality has increased 40% since 2014 due to sanctions-related medical shortages. Venezuelan emigration has reached 7.3 million people, representing 25% of the country's population. Venezuelan GDP has contracted 78% since sanctions began. American policymakers have known these statistics for years. The leaked documents contain detailed assessments of sanctions, impacts on Venezuelan civilians. Page 156 acknowledges that economic pressure campaigns will necessarily impact non-combatant populations, but concludes that strategic objectives justify humanitarian costs. America has deliberately chosen Venezuelan suffering as the price for Venezuelan oil access. Operation Golden Arrow reveals how American foreign policy actually works beneath the rhetoric of democracy promotion and human rights protection. When countries control resources America wants, they become targets regardless of their governance structures. When countries lack strategic resources, their governance becomes irrelevant to American policy. Saudi Arabia, with massive oil reserves and one of the world's most repressive governments, remains America's closest Middle Eastern ally. Venezuela, with even larger oil reserves and a government that refuses American corporate access, has been systematically destroyed through economic warfare. The difference isn't governance. The difference is cooperation with American resource extraction. This pattern extends globally. Countries that control lithium, rare earth elements, or other strategic materials face American pressure regardless of their democratic credentials. Countries that lack strategic resources receive American indifference regardless of their humanitarian crises. Operation Golden Arrow is ultimately about maintaining American economic hegemony through resource control. As Chinese economic power challenges American global dominance, control over Venezuelan oil becomes essential for maintaining American energy independence and global leverage. The Chinese have already signed preliminary agreements with Venezuelan government for oil development and infrastructure investment. Operation Golden Arrow is designed to prevent Chinese access to Venezuelan oil by ensuring American-friendly government controls Venezuelan energy policy. This is economic warfare between superpowers with Venezuelan resources as the prize and Venezuelan people as collateral damage. The leaked documents reveal that American policymakers have never cared about Venezuelan democracy or human rights. They care only about ensuring that Venezuelan oil serves American strategic interests, rather than Chinese strategic interests. Venezuela's only crime was possessing oil that America wants to control and refusing to surrender that oil on American terms. Everything else, from election disputes to humanitarian crises to migration flows, is consequence rather than cause. The cause is America's determination to control Venezuelan oil regardless of Venezuelan sovereignty or Venezuelan suffering. Operation Golden Arrow continues today with additional sanctions, asset seizures, and political pressure designed to force Venezuelan government collapse. American success would mean Venezuelan oil flowing to American refineries at below-market prices for decades. Venezuelan failure would mean continued economic warfare until cooperation or collapse becomes inevitable. The leaked documents prove that America's Venezuela policy has never been about helping Venezuelan people achieve democracy. It has always been about helping American corporations achieve access to Venezuelan oil, and that access will be achieved through whatever means necessary, regardless of international law, regardless of human suffering, regardless of Venezuelan sovereignty.